Welcome, everyone. This is episode 25. And after all this many times, you would think that would be slightly more professional. But Nate managed to be a little bit late for this one, and here we are. Hi, Julie.
Good evening.
Welcome to Coffee Talk. Monday morning, Coffee Talk.
Yes, let's hope the internet holds out. It's been very spotty for me.
Really?
So I hope I won't freeze on you.
It's been spotty just today or like over the weekend?
In general,
Okay. I've seen that you've been quite active recently, all over Facebook, doing a bunch of lives and videos and stuff. And what's going on?
Well, I got a lot a lot to create in the world, I guess.
Yeah?
To let people know that there's something else possible.
So what's the newest thing upcoming?
The newest thing upcoming is tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
It's my guided transformation, the 6 steps to moving beyond a breakup or whatever transition.
Okay.
Or even just renewing your relationship and creating it fresh. So I'm super excited about it. I love this class. It's I actually like it even more than foundation, I hate to say.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's different because it's not as long. It's not, 4 solid days. It's an hour a day and it's 6 days. And there's space in between. So you do 3 days and then there's space. And then the next week we do 3 days. And it just really gives you a way to integrate the tools into your living and then reconnect with the group of people. And it's like, it just gives you that momentum. So it's like 2 weeks worth of having facilitation and group momentum moving you forward.
Right. I have a quick question, actually. I was just thinking about this, and you mentioned you have people on there and they're in different maybe relationship situations. Is there anyone who does this who's like in a fresh new relationship, like less than a year? Or is it generally?
Probably. You know what's so funny? I really should do some statistics and find out exactly what's going on, but I get a sense that at least half of the people renew and refresh their relationship. They don't actually leave. And
Okay.
There's some people, like one person said that she was divorced 10 years prior and is in a new relationship and took the class, and it changed everything for her and made her relationship so much easier, because we tend to carry that baggage even though we think we've let it go, even if it's 10 years in the past.
Right.
A lot of times it's still there and we're still creating it into the next relationship. So
right.
I like to repeat this every month for myself.
Well, I was asking because I think relationships go through kind of several different stages. When you start at the beginning, there's kind of that like fresh, romantic sort of excitement, and the other person, I mean, they can't do no wrong, but their little quirks are just like, oh, that's so cute, that's part of who you are. But then over time, it's like, it's super annoying. So like, oh, you chew on your straws, that's really cute. But 6 months later, it's like, oh, would you just not chew on your straws? That's so annoying, like, so. And in the recent COP, Simone said something about, for the first 8 weeks, relationships are really fun. But then after that, there's sort of a transition into more seriousness, and it becomes like, now I'm in a relationship and it's become official usually by that point. And like what are some ways that people can kind of make the transition from the first couple months or the first couple, we'll say 2 months into like 6 months and a year, and then even beyond that. But just that first kind of hump from the initial excitement into
Yeah.
the other person becoming like an actual person instead of an idealized version.
Right. Well, first thing I would say is get my book or take this guided transformation because it's
Sure.
amazing how our points of view about things really create that same reality repeating itself and how much we lose ourselves the longer we're in a relationship. I know I do.
Okay, what do you mean by
Um,
that?
you lose yourself. Well, you know how you can really get a sense for what your partner wants
Okay.
or that they project something at you or whatever, and you can feel it, and so you just start functioning from, okay, what do they want, what do they need, what do I need to take care of, and then you start to lose the awareness of what works for you, what would you like, what's going to create your joy
Right.
that you can bring to the relationship. So
Right.
it seems to me like the longer you're together, the less you have the individual people and you've just become this amorphous, like not you and they're not them. And then everything bugs you because because you're not being yourself.
Right. At the beginning though, would you say at the beginning people are being themselves? Because
Not necessarily.
right, like when you meet someone, you try and put your best foot forward and you try and sort of be who you think that they will be attracted to
Right.
because you want to get that partnership or relationship or attraction or just you want to get laid. And
Yeah.
um and then over time you sort of, I guess, those those falsities fall away and you stop the acting, right?
Probably not, because you just turn into more of what you think the other person wants. And that's some of the stuff that I address as well. Uh,
Okay.
is being yourself, showing up being yourself. And since I've been doing this work for as long as I have, it's like I still don't know the extent of who I can be. Like it's not this destination. Okay, now I've done the steps so I know who I am and exactly what I'm going to do. No, but you get a sense
Mhm.
for what being you is and what it is that you'd like to create, um, and then you can create a relationship, hopefully,
Right.
with that in place. But if you haven't done any of that work in advance, it's like, I don't know, the projected idea of who you think you are and who you think they are. And like
Mhm.
nobody's actually being themselves. No wonder it doesn't work out.
Yeah. And for me, I think, like you said, who you think you are, it's also who you think they want you to be. So you're sort of you're trying to meet what you think their expectations and projections are when you probably even haven't asked them. But you just thought like, oh, this is probably what she wants or he wants.
Exactly. And there's some amazing access tools that really get you clear on where you're doing that, what your points of view are,
Hmm.
and undoing it like
Right.
so fast. I don't know if other people use it in that way, but
Okay.
it's what I figured out and it was amazing. Like one person in the last round was saying, my husband doesn't take me seriously, he doesn't listen to me, those kinds of things.
Okay.
And through the facilitation, she realized, oh, I don't take myself seriously. I don't listen to myself.
Hmm.
So, she's projecting it onto him, but it starts with you.
Right.
And then when you change that, when you see that, you're able to change it. And when you change it, everything in your life shifts.
Right. So that's
Greater.
been
For the greater. Like, don't be
right.
afraid, people.
uh,
Nobody's life has ever gotten worse through
change
this.
is scary. Change is
I
scary.
know. It's like, but
The other thing, though,
it's always
that
fun.
I've kind of noticed is, I mean, change can be scary, but also, I mean, for myself, looking at my target for so many years um, was consistency and constancy, and sort of like once you've gotten something right, then you stick with that and you work on the other part that's not right yet, and you sort of like hammer away at every different area that's not quite right.
Okay, let me ask you a question about that. Is
Yeah.
that how you function in bed?
I don't think so. No.
Well, like if you got sex right, are you only going to do it like that and, try to stick to that?
Well, I mean, I get it right every time, but it's always different.
So, so the thing is that when you try to get it right and stick to it and make it consistent, you're not being present, you're not following the energy, you're not asking
Right.
questions, and it can never get any greater, and it usually degrades.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, for me, I would say watching people in a career, like a lot of times you sort of start your job and you think, all right, I've got the job part figured out. And then you buy the house, I've got the house part figured out, and you sort of,
Check, check. Yep.
exactly. Yeah. Um, and the
Well,
idea of,
that's what we learned, that's how we learned how to live in this reality. But
right.
is this reality and checking off all the boxes enough for you? And if it's not, it doesn't mean that you're not part of this reality, because you are, but you can also function beyond it and start creating way greater than even what you can think.
Yeah. So these are the sorts of things that show up in your classes coming up.
Yes. And it's not scary. It's actually really exciting and really fun. And people end up having a lot more energy and a lot more enthusiasm for getting up each day.
Nice.
Mhm.
Well, that's good.
I
And you
know
said
it's
it,
powerful.
but it's broken down into kind of two sections.
Yes, we do steps 1, 2, and 3, and
Okay.
then we have a weekend to, let it all settle, and then we do 4 through 6.
Right. Um, do most people take these classes with a partner, or
Most people, no. Most people take it on their own,
right?
and I think it would be I think it would be beneficial to do it on your own, because it's about, really finding you.
Okay.
And there have been many people who have taken it who are in relationships, good relationships,
Hmm.
not so good, all over the board. And they're always surprised. Like, there's no fixed point of view about what the outcome is.
Hmm.
And they usually end up creating a happier connection.
Right. Is this
And
the kind of thing that you would recommend for someone who's not in a relationship? Like,
yep,
yep. Okay.
yep. Because, like, isn't that the best place to start? Like, okay, let's just clear out everything from the past, even if you've never had a relationship before. Like,
Hmm.
the young people who are maybe looking at creating something. Wouldn't it be so different for you if you had you first, and you knew, the energies that you wanted to have in your life, and you didn't give yourself up for other people and then have somebody else show up that matched that and
Right.
could contribute and you could contribute to them. It's just such a different space, but we don't learn that. Actually, one of my friends gives my book to brides to be so that they don't lose themselves in their marriage.
You're getting married soon. Here's your Beauty in the Breakup book.
Well, you don't want to break up with you.
Yeah. How far in advance do you give that to a bride to be?
I
Like,
don't know. She bought a few of them and she said, I know some people getting married. I'm going to give this to them as their brides, as their bridesmaid gift. And they actually like it. It's not tools to break up, it's tools to move beyond any breakup. So if you've broken up with yourself,
okay.
you can create a greater connection and create your lighter and brighter future.
Has she given that?
Somebody here is saying that she'd like to do it with her partner the second time around. I think that's a great idea. Bring him. I love having men.
We're just going to put a period at the end of that sentence. Julie loves having men.
I love having men in the classes. The book, somebody's asking about the book. The book is called Beauty in the Breakup: 6 Steps to Moving Beyond Your Breakup and Choosing to Create Your Lighter and Brighter Future. That's the tagline. But it's for any transition and just having more of you. And it's short. It's not a whole lot of stuff. And it's organized into these 6 steps so that wherever you're at, if you're in an upset and you can't seem to let go of this thing that happened in the past and it just keeps coming up and you keep getting upset about it, you go to step 2, because that's about clearing past trauma. So it's just really easy to use as a reference once you've read it.
Yeah. So taking it the second time with a partner, have you done any of these classes that would be like with couples or only with couples? Because I think that would be an adventure.
I think it would be awesome.
Yeah?
Yes, I think it would be awesome. Absolutely. I'm challenging couples out there. I dare you to take this class together and tell me that it didn't create your relationship greater.
Yeah. Huh. And then also, I was just thinking you could do it like with the couples only. And then even you could break that down. Maybe you could do like, I don't know, you could do like the men this time and then the women and then do it together and then do the, break it up like that. But
like
the other
Gary's original sex classes. Remember those? Maybe that was before your time.
There wasn't a lot before my time, but yeah, there might have been a couple things. What were the original sex classes?
Well, they did something that I think it was 3 days.
Right.
And they did the days and then they did an evening with the men and an evening with the women.
I remember that, yeah.
And then,
right.
them coming together.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could do that a bit. And also, having with single people only, or people who are looking for a relationship or not sure if they're looking for a relationship but not in one.
It seems like in the last group that I had, there was a whole mix and everybody's particular situation contributed to the whole.
Right.
As it usually does. The universe works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So yes, it would be fun to play with it in different combinations. But I think everybody has the same. We all have the same stuff,
Right.
you
And
know.
even as you say that, I realize, as you said, the universe kind of has your back and organizes things in a way that you can't anticipate sometimes. Like when you have a class come together, because I've been in classes where I look around and I'm like, I have nothing in common with these people. There's no way it's going to be like amazing. And it turns out to be super amazing because, they do have the same stuff going on, and we're able to kind of look at the same things, and then they're a contribution to me and I'm a contribution to them. And so, yeah, sometimes coming
Yeah,
into it and
you know that lock and key thing
yeah.
there's there's it's so interesting how you'll meet somebody you don't even speak their language,
Hmm.
and they're a key to unlock you somehow, or you're a key to unlock them, and it's just amazing how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. And in some classes, like you said, you can't even talk to some people and they're listening to translation the whole time, and you give them a hug or you do their bars or something, and it's just such a great um, example of the way that the first language is energy. And if you're willing to be aware and perceive and receive in the language of energy, you can change so much and be facilitated in ways you would never think.
It's so true, and it allows that change so quickly and so easily. Like you don't have to struggle. You don't have to figure things out with your mind. It can, I find it really interesting that there's, marriage counseling and psychotherapy and stuff like that that goes on for years and years, and people like barely get anything out of it. But
Yeah.
this energetic stuff, it's like everything can change in a moment.
Yeah,
And it does.
absolutely.
And the clarity and the peace and the joy that's released when you let go of that shit. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that's interesting because I have heard people talk about like they're like, oh, I've been in counseling for the last year and a half or something, and I'm just like, holy shit. Like and then
Well,
I have a friend who's, I mean, I think I actually asked her directly, like, when were you done with this marriage? And she was like, oh, 2015.
yeah.
Like, but still in it, right? And
Mhm.
still like trying to work it out and going to individual counseling and then going to couple sessions, and then he doesn't want to go, and it's just been
Well,
this
tell her about my book.
I
Because,
think I
honestly, Nate, I don't know if you've ever had to go through this kind of a thing, but when you're aware that your relationship is done,
mhm,
it's not something that most people can just walk away from. There's
right.
a whole lot of stuff locking you up and keeping you from choosing that. I mean, besides cultural beliefs that
Hmm.
staying together and making it work is right,
Right.
there's a whole lot of other barriers that you need to learn how to move through without it being this fight to create the separation. There's a different possibility. And when people have these tools, they can do it in a way that works for them in their own
Hmm.
time. I mean, I was way worse than her. Gary asked me when my relationship was over, and he said, 3 months before you got married or 3 months after? And I said, 3 months after we started dating, which was 3 years before we got married. Okay. So I think I'm the queen of making a relationship stay longer.
Hang on
But
a
maybe I
second.
did it so that I could write the book so that other people wouldn't be as stupid as me. God. Oh.
At what point did he ask you that? Like you were 10
I was
years in at that point?
No, when I found Access, I was 15 years in,
Okay.
and I spent 5 years trying to make the relationship work better
Right.
using tools, and it sort of worked. But making a relationship work is not nearly as fun as having the relationship work for you.
Right.
And when I
And your
realized,
response was 3 months after we started dating?
yeah, yeah.
So,
And yeah, I recently, I think it was in this year, that I had this total download of that moment that I chose that,
mhm,
because I was really aware that it was not working for me, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing with this person? And then somebody came over. We were having dinner out, and somebody came over that I knew from high school, and they're like, "Hi, who's this?" And I like projected this, image of the happy couple thing, and I just
mhm.
shoved my awareness way back.
Hmm. I
So there's a
was gonna
lot of
also,
reasons why people do crazy things.
yeah, yeah. Are there any prerequisites for these classes?
None, no
So if
access,
somebody
no
shows
nothing.
up and they've never had their bars done, they've never heard the clearing statement, it's like no
Yep,
big deal. Yeah.
yep.
Um, Unbelievably, I think we're out of time already.
Oh my gosh, how did that happen?
How does it just blows by every single week? Um, so when do these classes start?
We are starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, so that would be this time tomorrow.
Right? So in 24 hours,
And it's just 1 hour, and it's on a Zoom.
right? 10 Pacific is
Yeah.
1 Eastern, right? Okay.
Oh, you're thinking about for you? Oh, please.
No, I was thinking about for
Oh,
my
for your
friend that I
friend.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's super, super reasonable. It's $450 for the
right,
6 calls. I mean,
right.
it's
That is
better
actually,
than a
yeah,
counseling session that you would spend that much on. So
yeah.
I think it's worth getting up for.
Well, no. I mean, it would be like just after lunchtime for her. She's in the East Coast, so
Oh, cool.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yes. So tell your friends, all the people who are always complaining about their partners,
Yeah.
have them come and play.
Um. Alrighty. Well, nice to see you again. Felt like it was way shorter than usual. Partly because of me getting on late, probably.
You were like 1 minute late. It's okay.
I Anyway,
No worries.
I felt the 1 minute.
Technical difficulties are good. We love them because we get beyond them. We
Nice.
never have to give up.
All right. Well, have a great week, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Miss Julie, once again. Have a great class. I'm looking forward to a full review next week.
Okay.
Talk to you later. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.